I'm Jason Wilson.
And I'm Brett Harris.
And we're going to be talking about the Lego house.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Lego's... how many venues is this going to appear in? This is...
They're only building it for 6 locations. Sorry, they're not building anything. 6 groups are building it.
Okay.
And so how exactly does this work? So is this a model that was sent over from Billund to be displayed here at BrickFair? Or is this something that was perhaps, maybe say, built by some dedicated AFOLs on site or in the area?
Number 2.
Number 2.
We built it. So basically, Lego provided the instructions. Very difficult instructions. But we got through it because, as you see, we have the complete house. And basically, they just tell you each layer, and then there was some photographs to assist with it.
Yeah, imagine this. The instructions are only 26 steps long. A $10 car kit is probably 30. It's literally 26 sheets of graph paper. The first one draws out the entire thing. They don't tell you which bricks. So there's a line like this, and they say, okay, make it white. So do you use 1x4s, 1x2s, 1x8s, 1x12s? Who knows?
The only suggestion they gave was, on the first layer, make it out of plates, because it's 3 layers of plates, and it makes it actually stronger, and I can see that. So you have the thinner thing, and it's more woven at the bottom. And so as we built up, it's just bricks, and then there are some layers, like these roof pieces here. They're basically 3 layers of plate.
Okay.
And
so step 1 is the first layer of bricks. Step 2 is the second layer of bricks for the entire thing. So you build all of it, then you go to the brick 2. All of it.
Yes.
Brick 3.
And then there's structural beams in the center to so it's not solid. It's hollow with structural pieces going along the edges and the inside.
Oh my goodness.
And I had experience with doing that because I actually worked on the Mill Yard project in Manchester, New Hampshire in early 2000s. So I kind of get how they think at Lego for these big scale model projects.
Just get it done, right?
Get it done so it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah.
Now, of course, to make it really interesting, once we got up to the second level of buildings, we realized they drew the first level wrong because he had to rip layers off to move to the walls out. Because they drew them on the graph paper.
Well, actually, that could have been my mistake.
We double-checked those counts. Those counts were good. It's them.
Okay, it was them.
It is all Billund.
Basically, they did not make it easy for you guys.
No.
It's a little bit of a difficult model to build, yeah?
They did include photos, though, like a shot of like this, so we could kind of look at the photo and go, oh, that's what that means.
Oh, the biggest pain was this. So can you imagine looking at tan on a photo, how difficult that can be, and especially getting this weird pyramid? I spent probably a good hour plus
An hour plus trying to get that
just
right.
to get that right. When I finally got it, I was like, oh yes, excellent, now we can go. Yeah,
remember, this has got height, so it's 3 bricks high. So this in fact is on 3 different sets of instructions on graph paper. But the photos are all from this angle. There's nothing from this, so he assumed the back is symmetrical. Now that we see this, I guess it is symmetrical. But we had no idea when we made it.
And so when this is all said and done and BrickFair is over, what is going to happen to this here Lego house?
Are you sure you want to know?
Probably not, actually.
As our reward for building it, we get it. Everybody who built it. So what's going to happen is we get to rip it all apart and divide up the bricks.
Wow.
Now, since it was at his house and his wife helped, he gets 2/3 of the brick.
Okay.
He's going to rip it apart, do whatever he wants with the bricks. I want my 1/3 intact.
Oh.
I'm going to take like this corner intact, keep it for next year, and there was extra brick left over that we split. So before I have to mail the instructions back, I'm going to try and build some of it back out.
And then we'll just have a model of the Lego house lying around.
No, I'm the military. I'm the military theme leader.
Oh.
So we're going to have an intact part and a crumbled part, and then I'm going to come up with tanks the correct scale. Have it like somebody desperately wanted to take over Denmark, bombed Billund, and that's going to be my mock for next year.
That is a brilliant idea.
When he said that, I said, okay, yeah, you can have your 1/3.
That's acceptable.
And we know how Lego loves the military theme, so I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure they'll just love that. There'll be poop and rainbows.
So then,
Just like the roof of the house.
Pretty much.
going back then to the beginning of the build, when you first how did you first come in contact with Lego as far as to begin the project?
Ask him. He's the one who took care of that.
Our Lego ambassador for our lug, who's Dan Rubin, was contacted. And they said, okay, does your group want to do it? We've got this big modular house to build. So we went, sure. We figured we'd give each person a section. They could take it home, bring it back. We'd snap it all together. The bricks came in like 6 boxes of K8s because this is 20,000 bricks, which is an awful lot of brick. Well, figure how many tiles and little pieces there are.
Yeah.
So Dan got sent all the brick, and then they said, okay, we can't send you the instructions. We need an NDA. He's the Lego ambassador for our group, so he's already signed an NDA for other reasons, and the new one would conflict with it. So I signed the NDA, got mailed the instructions, this lovely banner, wonderful cards, and we got t-shirts that say Lego House Tour. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I got the instructions, opened it up, and went, this is not modules. This is not something where you can say, hey, you go home and build your part. And I said, Jason, we're going to need a space to do this. We can't do this at the meetings. And he said, what do you mean? And I sent him a picture. I said, look at the instructions. You only can have 3 people at max standing around this thing, building it, and you can't move it because until you're done, it's not stable. It all shifts, it all twists.
And it's not even really stable in some parts.
We brought it in on a sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you ought to see him putting some of the roof levels on because there's so much twist. He's putting them on and he's going pat, 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 roll, roll, roll to try and get it all snapped down, starting at one side, and he was working all the way to the other, getting them all patted down. Because I was just getting frustrated. I'm going, doesn't fit.
I was afraid to get my mallet because it's black and it probably left marks on it. So,
sure.
But that could have been fun, just beating a Lego with a hammer. Because we were getting a little frustrated at that point. Because you're kind of going, really? So
yeah, and then when we lifted it, then some pieces fell out to the bottom.
Sure.
But I think they could have been just pieces that fell in, but we didn't want to reach in and get them out.
You drop something down there, and there's no way you're going to get that back out.
Unless you were the first group to build it, then you had to.
Yes, the first group that built it, they sent them only a few extra parts. So what happened is they got up to here, had to span areas, and realized they had no 1x12s left. They had to rip apart parts of the bottom they had built, take out a 1x12, put 3 1x4s in there, and then use the 1x12s up top. The second group to build it didn't. They got so busy that Lego sent them all the bricks, sent them all the instructions. Jan came down from Denmark to see them in France to do it and said, where's the Lego house? And they went, oh, we forgot that. No, not forgot to bring it. They forgot to build it. Now, how do you forget to build 6 K8s of brick? I mean, it just sits around in your living room and go, oh yeah, it blends in with the carpet. So they never built ours. So while the third place to display, we're actually the second people who actually built it.
All right.
So Switzerland, France, us. There's one more U.S. one.
BrickCon?
I think it's BrickCon. There's going to be one in South Korea that's going to build it. Can't remember where the other one. I think it's.
Then you said 2 U.S.
Oh yeah, there's a Denmark one.
Oh, of course.
There's a Danish lug that's going to build it, and theirs is supposed to not be dismantled, and actually go in the museum. So
hopefully they do a really good, solid job.
yes,
Because they got to do it the best because they're Denmark.
right. And the whole point of this is it's going to be this educational interactive center where you pay to go inside and do the activities. You can go to the gift shop, the cafeteria, and outside for free.
You can spend money for free.
Yes. So what it's meant to do, and this actually models it, is there's 2 sets of stairs, and you can follow the stairs up, go up through the level, go up, and you can go all the way around the roof, and you can get all the way up to the roof. So you can actually see, because we built the model that way, what you're going to be able to do for free. And then if you want to get into cool stuff, yeah, that's money. But that's different. But yeah, so it actually has pathways that get all the way from the ground to the roof, and then you can go back down and come down the yellow stairs.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's really cool, and thanks for some of the story behind that and talking about some of the build process. I hope you do some cool stuff with the bricks once it's all done and you tear it apart.
He's going to tear it apart.
It sounds like Brett has a pretty good.
He has a good plan. I don't know what I'd do with the other 2/3 except take it apart and maybe build something different.
Auto draft, aka part out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Well, thanks for telling us about that. Appreciate it.